Right, and we're live. Hey guys, thank you for joining us. I'm Stuart from NetReady, and this is MLM for CEOs, the channel that is aimed at providing key insights to company owners operating within this lucrative multi-level marketing space. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the 10 reasons why multi-level marketing businesses fail. And here to unpack this information is a good friend and mentor of mine, a man with absolute authority within this industry. His name is Richard Sletcher.
Yeah.
You well?
Yeah, I'm good. Good to be back.
Good. We've got 10 points to go through, so I'm going to dive straight into this, Richard. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hit it.
Awesome. So the first reason why these businesses fail, and we've seen this time and time again, is the fact of having the wrong product.
Yeah, that's just like crazy. It's two things with the product. One, it's not desirable. Two, there's no margin.
Mm-hmm.
So we have clients who come to us, their product, they've got no margin in the product. They cannot be competitive with the product and still make margin, and that is a complete disaster, or the product just doesn't have the desire factor.
Yeah.
And in some cases, the guys are bringing a product that is worth nothing and they're trying to sell it for a fortune.
Sure.
And so that is really, if that's your starting point, you're blown. You need to have a product that is excellent, where you can build value, where you can sell it at a premium and get your margins. Packaging has got to be brilliant. Product has got to be brilliant. You need to have a great story around the product, and then you need to have margins in the product to make it work. And that is obviously a tall order.
Yeah, it is. And you talk about margins. What sort of margins would you be looking for typically on your products?
So generally the way it works is that you've got your cost of your product plus your personal markup. So let's say you're selling, I don't know, I've got some glasses here. Let's say you're selling these glasses for, let's say they cost you $1 and you decide you want to make a 30% markup on them. So it's $1.30.
Yeah.
So that is your cost of your product, and you times that by 3.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That would be the perfect scenario.
To get to your recommended retail price.
Recommended retail price, yeah.
Fantastic. Okay.
And it's really simple. So you're not making obscene profits. But what you want to do is you want to keep the product as realistically priced as possible while still maintaining margins for yourself.
Sure. Okay. So the next reason that businesses fail is that of cash flow and not having the money on hand to do what the business needs, is manufacture the products and get it out the blocks.
Yeah, that's very difficult. And we discussed this in one of our previous episodes, I think, where we talked about the fact that you actually need to have short lead times. If you don't have the capital, you need short lead times, and you need to keep all of your money in the business, and you need some sort of account with the company. So if you can have a 1 week lead time and a 30-day payment term, then what you can do is you can leverage that supplier's money to grow your business so you can ramp rapidly. And of course, that supplier needs to be able to do it at scale.
Yeah. Again, we've seen it time and time again. Our clients don't have the cash flow in which, when they hit that exponential growth period, they can't fund the production and the manufacturing of those products to hit the demand.
And you need to be talking to your supplier. So you need to get together with your supplier on a regular basis to make sure they understand how the business is growing, what the expectations are, because there's also raw materials which they've got to have on hand. So if they've got, let's say they've got a ton of raw materials and you suddenly sell 2 tons, now they've got a lead time for the raw materials. So they've got to be planning forward, and you've got to be planning forward to ensure that you keep that you're able to sustain the growth.
Okay. The next thing is diversifying prematurely, and we've also seen this before.
Yeah, the guys want to go, they get 3 people from another country who want to sell the product, and now they're off chasing those 3 people, and they want to get into an international play, and it adds so much complexity to the business. So my thinking is always, look, have a standard set of products, focus on your standard products, get your business really thundering in the country you're in, then launch it in the next country. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. And the big reason is that you can leverage your existing network.
Nice.
Let's say you're in Germany, and you say, look, we're only supplying in Germany for the first 6 months, 12 months, and you build up 30,000 agents in Germany. When you open Italy, all you do is you say to your 30,000 people, who do you guys know in Italy? And you are out of the blocks at lightning speed. You can have 60,000 people in your network within a couple of months because you're leveraging the 30,000 people in Germany. If you just let this thing dribble out then you never get that explosive growth. You can't get those big bumps as you open new countries. There's nothing exciting about the new country. There's nothing happening there. Whereas if you build up resistance, you create this pressure. We're going to be launching, we're going to be launching, we're going to be launching. And then you do a big launch in that country, you can get exponential growth very, very fast. Now you're in Italy, say, and in Germany, got 60 people. You want to launch in France. You say to those 60,000 people, who do you know in France? So what you've got to be really careful about is chasing after the international business. What you've got to do is you've got to consolidate in your country. And the second thing is don't go out and add products.
Yeah.
We had, when I was running Acorn Kids, we had 4 products in our list. We're doing R1 million a month in turnover. We decided, okay, we're going to add products to the list. So we added another 20 or 30 products to the list. It didn't change our overall turnover 1 iota, but it put a massive strain on our business because now suddenly, instead of just having 4 products, we had like 30 products or whatever it was. And now we had to hold stock for all 30 products. Now we were dividing our capital amongst those 30 products. It created a lot of problem. And we discovered that the spending power at the time was 500 rands per agent per month.
Yeah.
That did not change an iota. All they did is they spread their purchasing power over more products. So that's the second thing that you've got to be super careful of when you got a business. I've seen companies with 1 product make an absolute killing. And I've seen companies with hundreds of products tank completely.
Sure.
Much easier to deal with 1 product than hundreds.
Right. Okay. The next thing is... and
run the steam here. Hey?
We're
rushing.
We're doing very well. And we've seen this, changing the compensation plan.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah.
You know, companies come to us and say, can we start with this comp plan? We can always change it down the road.
Right.
Well, you can forget about it.
Yeah. We had this conversation last week with the clients.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that there's a key thing here, okay? When you change your compensation plan, absolutely guaranteed that you are changing the balance. So you might have a compensation plan, for example, that is much more geared towards your agents and less geared towards leadership. You discover you need to reward your leaders more. So you change your compensation plan. But what happens is you drop the income of the agents. And what happens to them? They say, well, we're not accepting this. You can't just drop our salaries. And they leave.
Yeah.
Vice versa, you could have a situation where you're a bit too leadership heavy and you want to put more money into the network.
Yeah.
You take your money away from your leaders and they're going to be upset.
Yeah.
And whenever you change a compensation plan, there are winners and losers, always. And the losers, they want to pull the rug out of the business instantly. You create it decimates your network.
Yeah.
And of course, your network has got this thing called Chinese whispers. So what happens is as soon as there's a negative, it's through your network in a heartbeat. Everybody talks to everybody. Suddenly, everybody's irritated.
Yeah.
And, you know, we say to clients, if you want to really mess up your business, the easiest way is to change your network.
Yeah.
That is why it is so important. The biggest decision you will ever make is designing the right compensation plan. That is your biggest decision. It's the biggest money you'll pay. Let's say you're doing $100 million a year, okay, which is not unrealistic for an MLM business. Chances are your commissions are about $60 million a year. So the day you set your compensation plan together, you're making a $60 million decision.
Crazy.
Okay.
That's perspective.
And what the guys do is, I've seen this other compensation plan. Let's use that. And then we can always change it if it's wrong. Well, I can tell you right now, that's not the way it works.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Do not change the comp plan.
Go.
I'm spitfiring you. The next thing is insufficient training for your network, and not actually taking the time to get your people out. I mean, last week we spoke about getting your people out of the blocks quickly, providing them with training on how to sell the product, how to recruit. That's what you need to do, and you have 6 weeks to do that. Yeah. If you're not giving the right training for your people, you're not giving them the best opportunities to getting out the blocks quickly and growing their business.
Yeah, and the guy's saying to you, here, I'll pay you. I'll buy your starter kit. I'll give you permission to teach me how to do this business.
Yeah.
And if you don't train them, it's on you.
Yeah.
If your company fails, it's 9 times out of 10 because the training sucks.
Yeah. Okay. We did a whole episode on training, so I'm not going to get into this now because we can spend hours and hours on it.
Yeah.
There's full-length versions, and we've also done shorter 20-minute ones. So let's go into the next one.
So I feel like we're under pressure here.
I know. The next one is...
What's this number?
This I don't know. There's so many of them. This is number 6.
Okay.
So being unsupportive of your leaders, the people that are actually driving the growth in your business, and thinking that you have control of these people.
Well, there's two things. The first thing is that you as a company, as much as you care for your actual foot soldiers, the dealers who are on the floor doing the work.
Yeah.
Those guys come and go.
Yeah.
Your leaders are the most important people in your world. So if your compensation is structured correctly, the leaders will bubble to the top, and you as a company should be dealing with 10 or 20 or 30 leaders in your organizations, your top diamonds and platinums and the top guys. And the idea is you should be looking after those guys like gold. You should be training them properly, you should continue to hot bath them, but they are going to train onto their people. So one of the key things is looking after those leaders and making sure that they feel loved and they feel cared for. You cannot force them to do anything.
Yeah.
If you tell them you have to do something, and if you start putting negative consequences in place, all that happens is they leave and they take their network with them. Because there's 1,000 other companies out there desperate for your leaders.
Sure.
And they will just leave you and go elsewhere. So you need to treat those leaders like gold.
Yeah.
So
okay.
looking after them.
Yeah. And is that also to do with sort of incentivizing, putting incentives in place, the recognition in place, just nurturing them as much as possible?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So your recognition incentive, you need to move your microphone a little bit, I think, closer to you. Yeah, your recognition, your incentives, all of that kind of stuff. But again, your leadership is what counts here. You know, so many people are desperate to pour all the money into the dealers. The dealers have to make a fortune, and then the leadership doesn't make any money, and they disappear. So again, the focus is actually, for a company, the focus is on developing and motivating and looking after the leadership.
Okay.
That's where the company's focus should be.
Okay. The next thing is that of the incorrect focus from the company owner, where we know this. There's a lot of emphasis on the recruitment and building up this big network.
Yeah.
Where should the focus be?
Selling the product.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this business is all about selling the product. Your network has got two main tasks. The most important task is to develop a customer base for you. So to teach people why the product is excellent, why they should be using, why they should be buying it. Because if product does not sell, nobody makes money.
Sure.
We've got a client at the moment who signed up a lot of people, but no product is being sold. And as a result, nobody's making money and everybody's unhappy.
Right.
And the reason for that is they've just focused all of their efforts on recruiting. So they're building up a massive network, but they're not doing massive sales. That should be flipped around. You want to build up an army of salespeople, an army of evangelists who are evangelizing your product.
Yeah.
If you do that, the business grows automatically. If you just focus on recruiting, then the business, your network grows, but you get a bell curve.
Right.
Because if nobody's selling the product and using the product and there's no belief in the product, then what is it? It's just basically a pyramid scheme, you know.
Yeah.
You get explosive growth and then the business tanks and everybody moves on to the next opportunity.
Yeah, there's so many things you need to think about. So many things.
Yeah.
Okay. The 7th thing is that of scared to ditch the person who's just creating a lot of noise in the business. Don't be afraid to ditch that person. And we've seen this before. It's very difficult for people to go, but they're doing well in the business and they're causing a little bit of hassle, but I can deal with it. One of the biggest mistakes that company owners make is they're too scared to ditch that person.
Yeah, look, that happened to me, and it is problematic. So your first course of action should be to say that sometimes the most difficult people are the most effective people. So I've seen 2 different approaches to this. With one of our clients, the owner had an extremely difficult person, and he continually giving him problems. And the way that he dealt with that person is he employed him. He employed him to the business, and he gave him the job of troubleshooting every aspect of the business that was giving problems. And he got everybody in the network to feed any problems or issues to that guy. And he made that guy the number one person in the business to deal with that. And the guy became very effective at his position. And he stopped bleating as well, because now he felt like he had some sort of power or control in the business. The other option is to ditch the person. So we had in Acorn Kids, we had a person who I just had a massive personality clash with him.
Yeah.
And they would always, they were the glass half empty type person.
Yeah.
Anything that went wrong, they would stand up in public forums and like go at me like vigorously.
Yeah.
And I called them aside and said, look, if you've got a problem, do it in private. We praise in public, we chastise in private.
Yeah.
We don't need to make your problems everybody problems.
Sure.
Anyway,
Yeah.
she just kept on. She just couldn't hold her tongue, and eventually I just fired her.
Yeah.
The problem is when I fired her, she had a massive team, and I lost her entire team as part of it. So we lost a third of our turnover by firing this one lady. And so you need kahunas to be able to take that step, because when you fire somebody who's a heavy hitter like that,
big effect.
It has a massive effect on your network. Of course, everybody else got a hell of a wake-up call when we fired her, because they realized that we were actually not messing around.
Yeah.
But still, it was not ideal. So you want to try and head this off at the pass, so to say. You don't want to get to the point where you're firing them. And I mean, I have to take some responsibility for not heading it off at the pass. I could have done a better job of that.
Okay. The ninth point is that of choosing the wrong system from the beginning. And we know how dire that is.
Well, the issue is you're running a multi-billion-dollar business. Ultimately, that's what you're trying to do. You're wanting to build this thing up to $100 million, $200 million, whatever, a year.
Yeah.
And these companies grow to that size. And changing software en route is very, very, very difficult. We've done it with clients, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like trying to change the head of a fire hydrant without actually switching the water off.
Wow. Yeah.
So everybody gets wet. It's messy.
Yeah.
So I say to our clients, look, you need to get onto, if you're planning to grow the business, then you need to get onto a proper system.
Sure.
If you're planning to tank the business, then any system is good enough. But our clients obviously strapped for cash, so they tootle along to these
developers, maybe?
Either developers or these small companies from some strange country who are prepared to give them something dead cheap. They get their business going, and then they find that they can't get the support they need, that the systems don't scale, that they don't provide them with the right tools, that they can't build the mechanisms they need to grow their business, that the companies, the developers don't actually understand multi-level marketing.
Yeah.
And therefore the systems don't do what they need to do. Now the business suddenly starts to grow. At this point, they're under pressure. They're under pressure at the warehouse, they're under pressure on stock, they're under pressure getting staff, they're under pressure with the network, they're under pressure for training. And now suddenly they've got to try and implement a brand new system under these circumstances. And that is a flipping disaster. And so my recommendation is find a company who's got enterprise systems who you can grow with.
Sure.
And that would be my recommendation, because, and even if it's costing you a bit more, if you fail, well, just make sure you've got an exit clause.
Right.
If the thing succeeds, you have to be on a proper system. These businesses grow rapidly. You can have 100,000 people in your network overnight.
Yeah.
And if your system can't cope with it, you're dead in the water.
Okay. The final point is that of legal. And we know that, our clients sometimes, without even their knowledge, fall foul of some of the laws, fall into a gray area.
Look, it's critical. You have to be above board legal 100%, because if the government comes after you, they shut you down so fast. And if you're getting it badly wrong, you can land up in jail.
Yeah.
So we've got a video on our MLM for CEOs all about how you identify a pyramid scheme. And I would recommend guys go through that, but you need to do it right from day one.
Brilliant. Those are the 10 reasons. Thank you so much, Richard.
It's a pleasure.
That was good. That was a great download.
Quick.
Okay. Guys out there, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you giving us your time. Please follow us on all of our social channels, LinkedIn and Facebook. On our YouTube channel, which is NetReady, you can subscribe to the channel as well as hit the bell for notifications each time new content is uploaded. If you're sitting in the car, listen to us on Spotify. We'll see you for the next episode. Cheers, bye.